a minute, church.
Look, anybody got 4 fingers of King Hell Crank?
Church. Church.
Yes.
Church.
Yes, Rune. Yes, Rune.
So, Church,
Not
are
a
you
fucking
recording?
Lord, Church.
Church
But it is a dictatorship. I'm a dick and a tater. God damn it.
So, Church, is this our unofficial, unprofessional opening?
Professional opening. It's definitely a cold open. We've been on the air for 30 seconds, so.
Church, this might be a dictatorship, and you might be both a dick and a tater, but I will not be subject to the whim of your tater tots.
I mean, the tater tots are asleep in the other room, so
today
they don't dictate anything except in my life. I wouldn't expect you to be subject to them.
Don't you lie? You're the one who told me the last time you missed a thing, but I'm so sorry. I woke up covered in stuffed animals.
Look, that again is
like, oh yeah, I felt that, and then I felt asleep watching X-Men, and we're surrounded by children when I woke up. No, the tater tots have a direct proportional influence on your ability to stay awake.
Look, okay, I can't help if they get sickly or need to be held to fall asleep. That's not my problem. It's your problem because I'm okay being asleep. That's my secret.
It is,
Captain, I'm always sleepy.
I mean, it is your problem. It is your problem because, you know, they're your children.
Joking aside, I actually don't have any problem with you having situations with kids because kids are unpredictable. It is in fact the same issue that I have with my. It is the same issue I have with my mom's dog. If I'm sitting out there in the living room, it doesn't matter what I'm doing or how awake I am. If that small dog crawls into my lap and goes to sleep in the crook of my arm,
yeah, you're
I am
done.
also going to sleep.
Yeah, you're done. It's over.
Also going to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, it's over. It's okay.
Do we want to play the opening music?
This opening
do we
music?
want to play the opening music now?
There is a 6th dimension beyond a multiverse.
As vast as eternity.
As vast as infinity.
As timeless as the infinity gems.
It is the middle ground between the big two and the inverted. Between sci-fi and mysticism. And it lies between the pages
of the reader's imagination.
At the summit
of entertainment.
The dimension of comics. Where a humble
service is held.
We call
this service the gospel of comics.
Hey everybody, this is the very special Labor Day edition of the Gospel of Comics.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gospel of Comics, a very special Labor Day edition. And I'm joined with me as always by my trusty co-host Ayrton McCartney, Larry Bernard, and RuneKnight. How are you boys doing this evening?
Pretty good.
Try to fucking take my shtick.
For this show.
That is correct. No matter how drunk you are, that is correct. Well, without going into
today, mom is doing better today.
Okay, yes, that's what I was going to ask. Without going into detail
between us and you,
what
is there a delay between us talking and you here?
I have no idea.
It would be just right for us. It'd be just right for us to have resolved all the sound issues, and now that we're started, a sound issue drops, just to make us look maximally professional.
All right, I'm saying something right now. Tell me when you hear it.
Yes,
I heard it when you were saying it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. If there is a delay,
it's on Ayrton's end at this point, being, I guess.
Shit.
Hold up. Rune just blamed the Beyonder for something, so that's our first Secret Wars reference of the evening.
Well, because
damn it.
Well, because clearly he's skimping on the Wi-Fi. Because Ayrton's trying to talk to us from Battle World.
I mean, that sounds like a heck of a band name. Wi-Fi from Battle World.
Battle World has better technology than I have.
So does Alan Moore, but we're not talking about that. Booyah, that's second reference. Mark it off your bingo cards, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, by the way, did you guys hear about China in the news week?
Which thing about China in the news?
We've got some China discussion.
Nuts in your mouth.
China.
So which China thing?
Donald Trump don't just China. China is asshole.
China's still cool. You pay later.
All right. So here we go. We've got some topics to discuss this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have
but hold on. I want to know what hot take Ayrton wanted to mention about China before we go into our topics on China.
Can you not hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We heard you, but we didn't hear you say the thing on China in the news.
Oh, trying to get these nuts in mouth.
Oh no, we just disregarded that. I heard it, but I just didn't give it any.
We thought you actually had something to contribute.
Oh,
yeah, you.
So let's talk about the movie that both is and isn't an attempt to pander to China at the same time. No.
I told you what we're doing.
We're going to talk about the Rocketeer.
We're going to talk about the Rocketeer first because it was actually on the fucking list, Larry.
Hey, no, I put something for Shang-Chi on the list.
Hey,
that's the second topic on the list.
I stand by what I said in the chat thread where I discussed this, is that I actually don't have any problem contextually, in format, with a Rocketeer sequel or a Rocketeer Redux. I actually have no problem conceptually with the idea of a retired Tuskegee Airman taking up the mantle, because the Rocketeer's a helmet. Anyone can fucking do it.
Didn't the Rocketeer have a daughter, though?
Might have, but that doesn't mean somebody else couldn't do it also. No, the problem is that at this time...
I think the woke movie is the Rocketeer's daughter picking up the mantle, isn't it?
Oh no, that's also 100% true. I would love to have a Rocketeer where an Amelia Earhart, raised by a former adventurer, goes on to be a superhero. That's fine. But that's the problem, is that at this time, in this latitude, at this time of year, confined entirely within Seymour Skinner's kitchen, it is impossible to successfully get a qualitative movie that is not going to somehow fuck it up by checking checkboxes, not just checking them, but checking them in the wrong way.
Hold up. You're saying that's not Aurora Borealis?
No, that's some kind of light show that goes on in New Zealand.
Seymour, the house is on fire! Northern Whites, mother...
Southern Comfort!
Okay.
Uh-oh. I mean...
Do you even know what the fucking Rocketeer is?
If it's Tuskegee Airmen...
No. Do you know what the original Rocketeer is?
Before the movie.
No. Just even the movie. I'll give him the movie.
Yeah.
You do know the Rocketeer from the movie.
I know conceptually what it is.
Okay, you haven't seen it, so no, you don't know. You don't know.
I said I know what it is.
Okay. Well, you need to see the movie before you chime in, so your opinion is invalid.
I saw the movie.
I was going to say, making it a Tuskegee Airman, though, isn't that the group of people they injected with syphilis?
No. God, no.
That's what Joe Biden thought.
Yeah, no. The Tuskegee Airmen were a unit of... The Tuskegee Airmen were a unit of all African American fighter pilots in World War II. They were the Red Tails.
Right. The Expendables, if you will.
And that's actually why this film is obnoxious to me, is that it's the right idea. It's an idea that works. I love the idea of, in a post-war world with an aging Rocketeer, somebody else has to take up a mantle, and you choose a guy who fought for his country and was a fucking hero. That's awesome.
Hold on, Rune. before you go into that, let's deconstruct the Tuskegee Airmen for a second. In every piece of media they've been mentioned in, hasn't there been like the white savior, like fucking commanding officer of the Tuskegee Airmen that was the main character of all of their exploits?
I don't believe that's true in the last couple of films, but I can't recall because I haven't gotten on my way to watch them because, oddly enough, I'm not actually that to World War II movies.
Well, the last couple of films don't really apply to me because I stopped watching media in 2005 because it stopped being realistic.
Right.
But
no,
is it historically inaccurate though?
Well, I mean, obviously there would have been a white person in command of the platoon, regardless, because black officers didn't exist in World War II.
Here's the real thing for me, okay? And I'm gonna lay this out, but I want to be clear, Church. You are not being personally attacked. You are not being personally attacked. Okay.
Yes. I never thought I would be by you, of course.
So here's the thing. The Rocketeer was a serial. The serial stands on its own. You either liked it or you didn't. You were there or you weren't. You like old media or you don't. Fine. The Rocketeer film. The Rocketeer film was a 90s era superhero flick, contemporaneous with The Shadow with Alec Baldwin, and a bunch of other sort of early super things. And frankly, I love a lot of those. I like Darkman. I like The Shadow. I like Billy Zane's The Phantom. Right? The Rocketeer was kind of shit, and it apparently made back its investment. It was a successful film, but it didn't light pants on fire. Okay? Nobody was like, this needs a fucking Emmy. The Rocketeer was a middle-of-the-pack, non-failure, non-success movie about a dude in a helmet fighting Nazis on a Zeppelin to try and save a city. Okay? It was incredibly generic for its genre, which has always been the Rocketeer's problem, is that the concept of a dude with a rocket pack is cool, but it's not quite enough, right? What bothers me is that to support this potentially woke film, because we don't know, the new Rocketeer sequel could be fucking amazing, right? But to purport it, to perpetuate it, false fans are going to come out of the woodwork. Suddenly everyone's like, I remember that movie, I love that movie, and they're fucking liars. Shit. I mean, it might have a vapid fan base. It doesn't have a rabid fan base, right? This is not a thing that is going to light the fucking internet on fire, except for right now. Because of politics. Because of color. Because of fucking bigotry. And
because of Joe Biden.
Because of Papa Joe. And it's not just dispiriting socially, it's dispiriting in terms of media, because I totally believe, we deserve a good Rocketeer movie. I'm behind it, let's do it. But I'm not going to get it. I'm going to get shafted because other people want to use it as a platform. And even if they haven't said it yet, they're going to try and sell it as a platform. Unseen. Right? And we're going to see the same cycle we've seen for the last, 10 years?
But Joe,
right?
It's just
a bunch of people.
But Joe, we've already had a good Rocketeer movie, the Rocketeer movie.
I mean, Timothy Dalton
that
was amazing in that movie.
Yeah, but that's also what I was saying, is that I remember that movie, I remember not caring for that movie, and it wasn't a failure, but I don't seem to recall it, being a super duper success. Right?
It was a cult classic.
Sure. And that's the thing, is that, cult infers a small group of people. Right? A sleeper hit. It did well. Some people liked it. Right? What I'm talking about is
it sold
now
more
we're
videos
get a
than
new
it did at box
Rocketeer.
office.
Sure. But what I'm saying is that now we're going to get a new Rocketeer, and the base concept, sight unseen, could actually work. But not only is everything against it to be as woke and dumb shit as possible, But now people are going to get into the fucking pit, and they're going to argue on the theoretical significance of this movie. False fans that say it's going to be great because they want to support ideology. Actual fans that are going to be like, I liked the old movie. And people that are going to go hate watch it. And then they're going to say, this movie sucks. And this is why I gave them studio my $20 at a theater. And not understand how they're fucking stupid. Because you just told the studio, make more of this shit.
Break out the eye patches, boys.
Yeah. I mean, I don't specifically advocate for people sailing the high seas, but I advocate if somebody's going to pay for it,
we'll
like
go
one
around
person
the
pay
table.
for it and everyone else watch it.
We'll go around the table for final thoughts on this because we do have a lot to cover. But
okay.
My whole thing is, I don't think that they should be doing a Rocketeer sequel right now. I think they should be doing a Rocketeer reboot to lead into the sequel that leads us to have a believable storyline where retired Tuskegee Airmen could take up the mantle.
Well, I mean...
Also, I'm going to have to take a brief pause because my earphones are fucking up.
But that's the stealth lie. Is they're saying it's a sequel. It's not a sequel. It's actually a reboot. But they know that if you say the magic word reboot, people groan and roll their eyes. So now you got to pretend it's a sequel.
The correct term is the C-boot.
I like
A C-boot, which stands for soft sequel reboot.
Oh, okay.
See, but the problem is we already got this movie in the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show.
I
disagree
wholeheartedly.
That's exactly what this is going to be.
I disagree wholeheartedly.
No.
It's going to be a black guy gets
guys.
a Rocketeer backpack and he's fighting racism.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. I get what Ayrton's saying. Falcon
Actually,
is a dude that flies, right? And he's a black guy who fights racism in Captain American's underwear.
Yeah.
I mean, I disagree with that.
Right. Well, now we're going to get the
I
Rocketeer, a black guy in the Rocketeer's underwear who fights racism. I understand the premise. It's just that the form is not exactly 1-to-1.
Right. I think that the Rocketeer storyline has a lot more to do than actually just disavow racism off the top coat, because we were, as a society, I feel like we were on the cusp of kind of eliminating the idea of racism in mass media around the time the Rocketeer came out. It became the media's job to reinstate racism as a thing.
Well, no. We've achieved post-racial racism,
right?
Where race is no longer defined by biological nature; it's defined upon social class structure.
Well, isn't that just classism? And shouldn't that be the real issue? But nobody's talking about that.
That has always been the problem.
Yep, it's classism with extra steps.
But here's the thing: anyone of color will say that this is white people saying that, and they're just trying to deflect from racism.
No, Church. Let me tell you.
No, Larry, tell them I'm right. Larry, tell them I'm right.
Well, hold up. No, Rune's about to tell it to you from a different and more interesting perspective.
Probably, okay. And then we can move on to the next subject. I was in a conversation with some extremists, right? And I was positing the argument that
I don't remember this conversation, Rune.
No. The other side of the extremism. I wasn't dealing with alt-right influencers. They would have listened to me.
You were talking to Vaush.
Yeah. And the thing is that I was positing the argument that the issues they were describing were classicist in nature, right? Because despite what they fucking believe, there are white people who are poor in this country who deal with some of the same problems. Not the exact same.
You mean the trailer trash, mayonnaise sandwich eating fucking their sister white people?
First of all, fuck you. Second of all, no, I mean working class poor people who actually hold down jobs and do the best they fucking can.
No. I'm just referring to a Chris Rock sketch where he talks about
I know.
an underclass of white people that are basically the same thing as niggas, right?
Sure, but I live in a double wide, which is basically a fucking trailer that looks like a house. So fuck you.
Look, no shade. No shade. I've lived in one of those.
But what I'm getting at though is that I was literally told, "Oh, you're an economic reductionist." I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" And I looked it up, and basically the argument was that these people were trying to counter argue, right, against the idea that when you boil it down, almost all problems that are social based, class based, are also economic based. If you deal with poverty and you increase education, then people can fight back against that shit. Right? But people don't want to believe that. They want easier, different answers. Because if you look at them and say that a poor black person and a poor white person are the same to a rich white asshole, and that a rich black asshole is no more inclined to help the black guy than a white guy, because they're both rich and it's not their problem. Well, you're just talking crazy time now.
Look, Oprah ain't never gave me a car. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, where's my fucking Oprah car? Oh, that's right. I didn't happen to be in the audience. Oh, that's right. I wasn't wealthy enough to be in the audience.
Yeah, I wasn't wealthy enough to afford the $6,000 ticket.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I wasn't on the approved list of guests to be in that audience.
I wasn't wealthy enough to pay the price of a car to get into her show.
But hey, Oprah's just one of us, pre-programming housewives all over the country to spend money they don't have on books they don't read because Oprah said this is the book of the month. You know, she's one of us. Totally. All right? Here's how deep this fucking goes. All right? Totally random. I grew up watching Siskel and Ebert, not because I wanted to, but because I was a kid and sometimes weird shit's on TV and you can't change the channel. Right? I didn't like Siskel. I didn't like Ebert. Those fat fucks didn't like Predator, and they think that Night of the Living Dead was the end of Western culture. Okay? Siskel died. Ebert got fucking throat cancer and his face rotted off. And while he was on his last legs...
Be honest. Yeah. Be honest. You thought it was Mystery Science Theater 3000 and you just kept watching.
No, I'm talking even before that. Remember, I'm an old man. But the thing is that Ebert, because he couldn't talk any longer, got on the internet and started typing a fucking manifesto worth of information. Okay? And because people found his stuff and read it, and he was on the internet, and he was talking to us directly. People are like, Ebert's one of us, guys. Ebert is a fucking film school dink who worked for the San Francisco Sun Times, some shit.
It was Chronicle.
Okay, the Chronicle. Yeah. Okay, for him, Citizen Kane is art and fucking Commando is garbage. And if you watch movies that are fun, you're a piece of shit. He's never one of us. This was a fucking lie that people adopt, and they keep doing it over again, assuming that corporations are your friends, that rich people care about you, and that famous movie stars are actually members of your direct community and don't live in gated boxes to keep the poors and the violent criminals out, except for the ones that bring them drugs and the ones that sign off on their medical bills.
All right. So
let's talk about Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. What a wonderful
Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi, you fucking northerner pricks.
No, it's Shang-Chi. Because there's a thing called...
It's Shang-Chi because I'm in the South and fuck you.
Look, the only Shang that I care about is Shang Tsung, because he's gonna make Earthrealm great again. Showcon 2024.
Aren't they all?
Hey, do you guys remember that prank when that Malaysian airplane crashed and the dude changed the names of the flight crew?
How you doing?
Something Wong, We Too Low, Holy Fuck, Bang Ding Ow.
Got him.
Hey,
so
if it makes you, hey, Ayrton, don't feel bad. I have a Blood Bowl team of goblins, and there are several members on that team, including Hung Lo, Low Fat, Enormous Johnson, and Massive Genitals.
Do you want some fuck? Is my my Chinese
That's a good one too.
So do you want me to open up with the review of the Shang-Chi?
Give me a second.
Yeah,
Dillard, Dillard, if you're gonna float in the chat, get your ass in here and be a piece of shit with us. We miss you.
So Shang-Chi as a movie is Marvel's attempt to both pander and not pander to China at the same time. It's an attempt to play American racial politics while being completely insensitive to the ethnic conflict and strife in China. It's also an attempt to appeal to everything in the wuxia Hong Kong type movie fans, but like not really what makes those movies work. It's like putting it all in a blender and making a fantastic slurry. And the movie's doing well because, people are like, we haven't had our Marvel fix in a long time. So wasn't Black Widow just out? No, that we wanted a good Marvel fix.
The flavor of that slurry, by the way, is gray paste.
Delicious gray paste. So the problem with this movie, among many, is that both the protagonist, the secondary protagonist, who's his sister, who doesn't really have a purpose in the plot, and the fake antagonist, because there's a real antagonist that gets introduced in the fourth act of the movie, are all passive characters. Things just happen because they happen, and then eventually a plot happens in the fourth act, and they all do stuff. That's the movie. So you have Shang-Chi being raised by not Mandarin, and he's also not Fu Manchu. And I want to say this because, Rune, please describe for the audience what Fu Manchu is. So we're clear what Fu Manchu is.
All right. Fu Manchu was a character created by an author named Sax Rohmer as an Asiatic Moriarty with aspirations of global conquest.
Right. So if you're wanting to not make your character...
Just two things. In modern context, Fu Manchu is what's called Yellow Peril because he is an Asian caricature. However, for anyone that's a serious fan of Fu Manchu, you are aware that though he is Chinese in origin, because he's Mandarin, he is in fact European studied. He's basically a Westerner and a super scientist, which means he fits all of the appropriate checkboxes for comic book supervillain.
Yes. So now,
yeah,
the Wenwu, who is not Fu Manchu, is a immortal being who has a global criminal syndicate that has been involved in every war in human history, as well as has its fingers in every crime pie in the Pacific.
They colloquially refer to him as Ra's al Ghul in the League of Assassins. Carry on.
Yes. Yeah, so again, this character is not Fu Manchu. And he has 10 magic rings, like the not Mandarin. And the Mandarin's rings all do something specific, and they achieve specific effects. So this one is the one where they actually made a significant difference. He just has 10 rings that just basically vomit CGI on the screen. And make him immortal, and make him strong and tough.
You know it's good when your powers and visual design is to replicate the best parts. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The worst parts of Jamie Foxx's portrayal of Electro in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Now, the reason they went with these kind of rings, though, is it's a hallmark of a martial arts movie. You got the guy with the rings. He punches really strong.
It's an actual traditional. Things. It's an actual traditional Southern Asian weapon. It exists.
Yes, it exists. It's all that, but instead of using it for the things that it's supposed to be used for, he can fly with it. It shoots out. It makes whipping motions. It just does a whole bunch of nonsense. And if you make them swirl together, you can make the Kamehameha happen.
I think I can actually find a clip of what this looks like. Carry on.
So that's a problem. So he has a wife, and in a very standard, Chinese drama movie context, and there are good elements in this movie, but this movie just puts too much garbage in it. So the not Fu Manchu, not Mandarin, finds a woman who's in Mystic China Village, who he wants to learn secret mystic China powers from, and she says no. But they eventually fall in love, have kids. She has to return to the mortal world, yada, yada, yada. But his old criminal life comes back to haunt him. She gets murdered, and he trains his son to be part of his, criminal underworld. And he goes off, and then years later, the movie starts in San Francisco, where he's basically kind of a bum. He's working as a valet at a luxury hotel, and he's fine with that. And he's got his best female friend, and the grandmother, who again in this movie, which is totally not about stereotypes, there's all sorts of stereotypes like the Asian family dinner. The grandmother saying, "When are you two going to get married? We didn't leave China for this. Well, actually, you did leave China, and this is what you got." Aquafina's character being the lazy slacker Chinese girl who is overburdened by all the stress of being a high performing Asian student. But again, this movie is totally not about Asian stereotypes.
So,
Totally.
so Church, if you want to put this in the video for the viewing audience, I have a clip of what this looks like in movie.
It looks
Okay.
bad. It looks
Where are you
bad.
sending this to me?
It's in show suggestions.
So, and they're just going about goofing around, and then they're on the bus
You
one day
cocksucker.
going to work, as you do, and then a gang comes to steal his bling. Again, as you do, and it's
Right.
a piece of jewelry that his mom gave him. So we have
I
our
hate you
first
for
fight.
this.
We have our
But
first fight, which is a fight on a bus.
But
So
you know I'm right. You know I'm right.
So Church, Ayrton, you guys have watched martial arts movies, right?
Yeah.
You've watched some Bruce Lee, some Jackie Chan, some Jet Li.
Hello,
guys-
CMDR classified.
Yeah,
In matter of point, Larry. My mother, being a fine lady of the elder age, still describes them as Saki choppy movies, and we love them. We've seen a
Nice.
lot of them.
Nice. So in these movies, the combat serves multiple purposes. It's not just an action set piece. Your combat needs to tell you something about your character, who he is. Did any of you guys see the movie Nobody?
No.
So in the movie Nobody, Bob Odenkirk's character gets into a fight with a bunch of Russian gangsters to prevent them from kidnapping and raping a woman. And you
Okay.
see him making
Oh, that's
improvised
annoying.
weapons.
Let me get that better for you there, Church, because now I'm annoyed.
They get improvised. He makes improvised weapons. He fights very close, very brutal. He doesn't care about his body getting injured. You don't see anything like this in the bus scene with Shang-Chi. You see him wanting to save people, but that doesn't really tell you anything about his character. And especially considering the comic book character was Bruce Lee. And the actor in question was actually trained in the martial art that was created by Bruce Lee. So, yeah, so, you could have had him, doing some of those Bruce Lee moves, having a little bit of a cocky streak because, he's a guy who's been trained to be an assassin and a killer and an elite martial artist his entire life by his father. And you have him just kind of in a situation where his father's goons are on the bus trying to steal the thing that's his last connection to his mother. And he wants to show off to these people. He wants them to be afraid to come back to him because obviously his father sent them after him.
In matter of point, you just brought up something I didn't even think about when I was talking about this. I'm not going to be a conspiracy theorist. We can go do that elsewhere. That's what the Chronicles of Darkness is for. But it is a known theory, a pet theory, that Bruce Lee's death was not just like his heart gave out due to a combination of age and exercise and overwork and a bunch of other things, but that the mysterious quote-unquote Chinese masters had it out for him because he was defying conventions that have been long held to preserve their control over who has access to martial arts.
Right.
Because Bruce Lee was teaching everyone martial arts, regardless of ethnicity, identity, sex, or
all the
strata.
above.
And you were talking, when we discussed this previously, about how China cannot accept Shang-Chi as a movie because so many facets fly in the face not only of Chinese cultural nuance, but party-approved nuance in the People's Republic.
Yes.
One of those things is, we love Bruce Lee, we do not endorse Jeet Kune Do.
Right.
You can't have their martial artists do Jeet Kune Do, because then you would have to endorse that is an actual martial art of respect.
Right. So
he has to do Shaolin Kung Fu.
Right. And Shaolin Kung Fu is very beautiful, but it's not good for a bus fight scene. If you want to see really beautiful Shaolin Kung Fu in a movie, you watch Ip Man. You watch Master Ip.
Well, that's the thing though. Like, Donnie Yen would have been the perfect actor for this role. If they had said Donnie Yen is Shang-Chi, I'd be like, holy fucking shit! I want to see this movie. I'm gonna crawl to the theater on broken glass to see this movie because I love the Ip Man series.
But Donnie's too old to do this. So he has the bus fight, and he and his other slacker friend, which kind of sort of in the current political context in China, they would very much be interpreted by Chinese audiences as people embracing the lay down movement, which is a big political movement in China. And for the edification of those people in the chat who don't know, as well as Church and Ayrton who probably don't, is there's a social movement in China of people just saying, listen, stuff's too hard, so we're just going to do the bare minimum we have to get through the day, every day. And that's basically the ethos of these two characters. And so they get on an airline flight going to Macau to find Shang's sister, who wasn't allowed to learn Kung Fu with the boys. And this also gets into another element of the cultural nuance problem with China, is because you have the very Chinese actor playing a mob boss. Corruption is verboten in China. But the actor who's playing Shang-Chi, he's actually Manchurian. So you have the foreign Manchurian Chinese lead versus basically they call him like the George Clooney of China in the movies. So that also has a lot of negative cultural nuance for China. But anyway, they go to Macau, they go to an underground fighting arena where we see Wong fighting Abomination because, hey, those two guys were in some of the other movies, and that's there to remind you that these are the same universe as the other movies. Now, there's only two other scenes that really connect this to the Marvel Universe in any way, shape, or form. So, Shang-Chi goes to fight his sister in the arena where they announce his name and her name, when again, they both have a father who's, a powerful international immortal syndicate crime boss. So this is kind of stupid. And then they talk, and she's like saying, well, you abandoned me, and I'm going to be a little baby girl about it and pout. And then, of course, the bad guys come in, and they do a fight on a bamboo superstructure on the outside of a construction building. And it's a very pedestrian version of that fight scene. And if you want to see that type of fight scene that's done well, you don't even have to go to an Asian movie to do it. You could look at, I think it was Rush Hour 2. Jackie Chan did it in that movie.
Well, it's worth pointing out that in Rush Hour 2, he's actually remaking, opposite Donnie Yen, a fight scene he had done in an Asian movie previously.
Yep.
But, I mean, you also see it in one of the recent 007s. You see it in John Wick. There are a lot of films, American films, where we do this better.
Yeah. And it's very pedestrian, and it's very safe. And that's the thing about all the martial arts action sequences. There are a lot of things that are done extremely safe. And also, I think a lot of that sequence was shot on green screen. And they fight, and they fight, and they fight. And then the bad guy shows up and says, oh, good, you're here, so I can take you home. And then they go home, and then they have dinner where he makes fun of the concept of the Mandarin, and he lies about the meaning of the word. Mandarin is a Hindi word that the Portuguese used to describe the counselors in imperial court China.
Yeah.
So the Mandarin wasn't named after Mandarin orange chicken, which is a Chinese dish, although Stan Lee and Jack Kirby may have named the Mandarin after that originally. I don't know. But also that
Probably.
orange dish was named after Mandarin Chinese, the language, which is the predominant language spoken in China, although they don't call it that.
Well, if we go to Marvel for the moment, the actual comics, right? Like the story structure. Again, the Mandarin is very much racial cool for Marvel, right? We know what the actual implication is. The implication is that the Asian peasant who found the UFO that became the Mandarin is responsible for the Mandarin people and language.
Well, he was actually a Mongolian peasant in Outer Mongolia.
Right, but what I'm saying is that there is a secret, unspoken ancient age where the Mandarin either ruled China directly or almost conquered it, and then chose to rule from the shadows instead.
Well, yeah, Mongolians
because he is supposed to be truly ancient and supremely evil and brilliant, and these are things that you don't see in a lot of modern film, again, for reasons we've discussed.
And you don't see it in Chinese movies because it glorifies the imperial past, which is against the party doctrine.
Yeah.
And it also implies that there are evil conspiracies ruling the world, which goes against party doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
So then they get thrown in the dungeon, which isn't really a dungeon, and they find Ben Kingsley in the movie, which is one of my favorite parts. Is he just plays a stupid Liverpudlian actor. I enjoyed that, and he has a weird Chinese fantasy creature that I'm sure is an actual thing from Chinese mythology. It was like a creature with 4 wings and legs, but no head.
Yeah.
And he could talk to him telepathically. It's like, oh yeah, I can find the way back to where your mother is, because the eyes were the thing to activate the MacGuffin map to help them get through the secret maze, to go to the secret portal, to get to the secret village, to get to the other secret portal where, quote unquote, their mom is. But it's actually a different character, which we're going to get to in a minute. So the heroes rush back to the village, and then they learn the secret truth that actually this village is another universe that's even more advanced than their universe, and probably more advanced than Wakanda even. But then yes,
how dare they?
Yes, and then demons from another dimension.
Ayrton, you gotta remember, Chinese good at math.
Exactly. So then demons from another dimension showed up, and then a dragon showed up to fight those demons and help them seal the demons behind a hole. And then we have a subplot where our main character has to deal with the fact that he has anger and darkness in him. Which, makes sense because he was trained to be an assassin and a killer his whole life. But, we don't see that at any point in the movie before this, nor do, we talk about that. Nor do we have a moment where he and his sister are talking and he's trying to communicate to his sister that it was better that he didn't come back for her. Not, saying outright, listen, I was basically a psychopathic trained killer and I felt I couldn't come back to you and be the brother you needed me to be. But again, we don't have any of these interesting emotional nuances that the movie wants you to add in yourself. Because we have to have the garbage 4th act Marvel movie ending where the not Fu Manchu, not Mandarin brings his troops in who don't have lethal weapons versus the heroes who have lethal weapons. They fight and they fight and they fight. And then not Mandarin forces Shang-Chi into the lake where he can meet the lake dragon, who's necessary to win the final battle. The comic sidekick learns how to be an archer, does the archery trick from The Hobbit against the evil demon monster, which is one of the Fear Lords, which is an obscure creature, but it's basically a Lovecraftian demon kind of character.
Which archery trick from The Hobbit? Like how
the one where you shoot the evil dragon in the neck.
Okay.
And she learned all that in one day.
And I want to mention, sight unseen, they still didn't get it right, did they?
No.
Okay, so quick segue, just because this is important. For anyone who has not read The Hobbit or not seen the Rankin Bass animated feature, when Bard, the character, takes out the one arrow with the one bow and prepares to fire, he doesn't just shoot the fucking dragon. Okay? He rides out alone, lets his horse go, on a promontory or at a high tower, it doesn't matter where. And before he fires the arrow, he gives a soliloquy. He speaks to the bow. He speaks to the arrow. His only friends, because he knows he is about to effing die. Okay?
Absolutely.
And basically gives a prayer saying, hey man, one shot, one chance, one opportunity. If there is good in the world,
Mom's
let
spaghetti.
this fly true and hit. Right? And
But wait.
And then he fucking
Knees
does
weak,
it.
arms are heavy.
Yep.
In the Hobbit film, Bard never has that soliloquy, and it steals all the fucking energy out of that moment. Right? Obviously, yes, ripping off Hobbit to redo the shoot the monster in the neck bit is stupid, but that scene, in order to have meaning, needs a build-up. You actually have to sell consequences. If I don't do this, we dead, I dead, everybody dead, the world dead, and while we're at it, soul in perpetual torment. The consequences have to be there. It has to actually feel dire. And if it's not, that pisses me off.
Well, and you need more than a day to be able to do something like that.
Among other things, yeah. Wait for somebody to say, but wait, she's Shang-Chi's sister, so of course she's going to be superhuman too.
Oh, no. She's not the one who learns how to do the arrow. It's the comedy sidekick who learns how to do the bow and arrow.
But still, it's like, well, close association to superhumans makes you super, so it's ex post facto, it's okay, even though it's not.
So, also the comedy sidekick is literally, for most of the movie, is there to drive the car. So if a character is only there to drive the car, that means the character shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
But who's going to drive the car? Come on, Asians aren't good at driving, Larry.
Well, actually, she calls herself the Asian Jeff Gordon.
Seriously?
Yep, she calls herself the Asian Jeff Gordon.
Out of all the drivers you could have picked, they went with Jeff Gordon.
They did. So they end the movie with them talking to their friends from high school, who they open the beginning of the movie with, about their amazing adventures saving the world. And then Wong teleports them back, and we get the mid-credit sequence where Captain Marvel says, well, golly gee willikers, I've never seen anything like that. And Bruce Banner, not Professor Hulk, but Bruce Banner, says, well, it's not this or that or the other thing. And Wong's like, well, I have no fucking idea what it is. And that the power of the rings sends out a signal to someone. And that's your teaser for the next Marvel movie.
Which, A, does make no sense, and B, what the fuck do you mean you've never seen that before, Carol? You were off Earth, being an alien bitch! You haven't seen anything! You don't know anything about Earth! Fuck you!
But, and the final teaser, after credits scene is the sister takes over the dad's criminal empire.
Hello, Diller. As soon as we can hear you, we are so glad to have Professor Utonium among us again.
Professor Utonium has joined us.
Yeah. While he's getting settled in real quick, I do not, in fact, tend to name drop other channels, but because it is pertinent to this conversation, anybody who's watching this later, or if you guys want to in your own time, check out a channel called Every Frame a Painting. Specifically, a video called Jackie Chan, How to Do Action Comedy, because it actually is a much wider conversation about how to frame action. Okay? And Jackie Chan describes a problem he has in America, because you were talking about the safety of the film combat, Larry. In China, no matter how old Jackie gets, they'll let him do 40, 50, 60, 120 takes of one scene to get the choreography right. And when it's filmed, he does multiple cameras, and when it's cut, and the cutting is the important part, they'll recut it so you see the same thing from multiple angles, one after the other, creating a visual narrative in your eye that is similar to how we read comic books for people who study how your comic books work. Right? And this makes his action scenes look visually dynamic. You can fully follow what's going on, and they're fun. When Jackie Chan goes to America, not only do they not want to insure him for his own stunts, right? Which is why they have him use a guy, right? But they're like, we don't have time to do 30 takes. Let's one and done it. Which means that everything is jump cuts, it's flash, and it's lacking substance. Which is why, while Rush Hour 1 might have been fun, Rush Hour 2 was garbage fire that did not sell well. And the less said about Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights, the better.
I enjoyed those, actually.
Oh, I mean, you can enjoy a bad movie. There's nothing wrong with enjoying fun. But that doesn't make them good action movies by any stretch.
They're terrible movies, but they're fun to watch.
Dillard, we can't hear you. You're just a green circle.
Come on, Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan. That's a great combination.
Troll.
I mean, they played off each other good.
Oh.
So yeah, that's the review of Shang-Chi.
The deep dive, really.
So, yeah. So give us like a numerical score. In context with the rest of Marvel.
Before he does that, Larry
5.5 to 6
don't have to.
out of 10. 5.5 to 6 out of 10.
Let's put the difference and call it 6 out of 10.
I mean, I want to say 3 Snake Eyes out of G.I. Joe, but okay.
Yeah, I will say, from what I've been told from people who saw the most recent Snake Eyes movie, the editing in that movie was really atrocious.
Oh, there you are.
Hey, Dillard.
Hey, Dillard.
Been a while.
And that's another thing. The editing of the fight sequences made them worse.
Real quick, entirely off topic, as we welcome the Dillards to our space. Dillard, I am sorry I have not been around. I've been on the podcast here, but otherwise I have been struggling with real life. And I've also been trying to get some
piece of shit.
Well, I mean, yeah, I know, right? Like my mom's got like fucking dementia, and I'm just awful. But I'm also trying to actually like get some shit on.
Oh, did she not have dementia last year?
But I'm trying to get some shit on paper. I'm actually trying to put together some work to be like, hey guys, I'm not just talk. Sometimes I actually publish things.
Look, Dillard, I'll vouch for him. Okay.
That's not a good vouch, Church.
It's not that I don't believe him.
You just want to see the proof.
I'm sorry, I'm eating a corn dog, and I'm drinking Carol Ann's Irish cream.
Isn't that code for sucking cock?
Oh.
No. See, I don't like a hard liquor. I like my alcohol very, very diluted.
No. You're a hard sucker. That's what they told me.
So
yeah.
So what's next on the list after we did the deep dive?
I like
Frank Oz on the Muppets.
Yeah.
This is short and easy. If you're a company and you ostracize the voice of Grover and the voice of Yoda, and those are your flagship characters for your properties, you fucked up.
Also Kermit the Frog.
Yeah. It's absolutely, you fucked up. Those talents are not interchangeable. People know Frank Oz in his face. You've already screwed up. Forever. Yeah.
And is Frank Oz still alive?
Yeah. Frank Oz is alive, and he said...
You mean Megatron? Yes, Megatron is fucking still alive.
Yeah, and Disney straight up said, we don't want you. Fuck off. So he's like, yeah, they don't want me to work for them because I don't...
Excuse me, that was blasphemy. I have to correct it real quick. Optimus Prime is still alive.
And he said, and he's partially the reason is because he's basically old talent who won't accede to the boss just because the boss says do it. Because he's been working in a given way for many years, he's very good at it, and he makes quality product, and he has enough pull in his limited position to go, we can do better than that. So they're like, we don't want to deal with entrenched management. We'd rather get new people who suck at the job. And I do. I hope that Disney's ownership of the Muppets is a tire fire. I'm sorry to see them go. I love the Muppets. But if they're going to mismanage the property, they don't deserve to have it.
I totally agree.
The Muppets are all hella gay now. I hope he gets away from them.
Yeah, but what's Frank Oz going to do without Disney? That's the question.
Oh, I am 100% certain that somebody somewhere is like, hey, I want to put together a property, and I need some voice talent, and we need some voice talent that's going to immediately get people's interest. It's like, hey, how about that Frank Oz guy?
Who owns Transformers right now?
Well, look, I already told you. I deal with the goddamn customers so the engineers don't have to.
No, the cartoon is what Turtle's asking about.
I am good at dealing with
Also,
people.
according to Commander Classified, Peter Cullen created the voice for Optimus Prime, not Frank Oz.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes.
No, he said
Earlier
Frank Oz
today, I had a
Megatron.
fun conversation with Perch where we talked about, basically how he turned on America when he, basically crapped all over Arby's. But we also talked about some of the
still playing. I thought I stopped
editorial staff and people leaving at DC Comics.
No, I thought that. All right, somebody dropped a link for
It says
Sinking
here that
Ship.
Transformers is a media franchise purchased by Hasbro. It's a Japanese toy company to cure.
Somebody sent a link
in its entirety by Hasbro.
Dylan, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Somebody sent a link for Sinking Ship. DC Comics loses more execs and staff after firings. Go.
Basically, there's a third and soon to be rumored fourth round of firings in DC Comics, and basically anyone with any level of experience in putting together comics at DC is gone. And basically, the interns who were de facto assistant editors are now editing books.
A way to go, DC. That's how you do it. Keep making dog shit movies and fire everybody who knows what they're doing. You fucking retards.
That's a great way to get all these shops to stop buying comic books from Diamond to keep buying them again.
Oh yeah, sounds like the perfect plan.
Now we've got Al Ewing vows not to work with Joe Bennett again as more anti-Semitic work resurfaces. I think that was you, Larry.
I posted that. Basically, it's one SJW type turning on another one.
I mean, that's just the topic, right? Like that's just how it goes.
See, here's my perspective on this particular thing. And we got to be very specific because we're not talking about sex pest stuff, which is a different classification and degree. Okay, we're just talking about people having shit opinions, and being an anti-Semite is one of those shit opinions. If you do quality work, and
if you do quality work and you hate the Jews,
right? Literally, if you do quality work and you hate the Jews, the answer is not fire you. The answer is not tell everyone I can't work with this person. They're an anti-Semite. The answer is you take them very quietly aside, very politely. Maybe you take them out to lunch and you go, "Hey, look, we're going to be working together for a period of time, and you have some opinions I don't agree with." And then you lean very close and you say, "So you keep your anti-Semitic shit out of the work, and we'll be fine. But if you try to get your shit all over me, I will end you."
Does that go for pro-Semitic shit too?
Arguably, yes. Because it doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on, if it's not pertinent to the fiction, pertinent to the work you're making, it's your own personal business. Keep it out of the job.
Well, I think it boils down to the question: do little hats help or hurt stories?
Well, yeah, there is that. But no, this is personal to me because I was a member of a given club, okay, with bylaws that outline very specifically you had to be respectful to people at all times.
You can just say you're Jewish, Joe.
No, God, no. Let me tell you, I have my foreskin, and the ladies love it.
Do they?
The thing is,
do they like to hide? Do they like to hide stuff in there? Like little figurines and whatnot.
I'm not really familiar with the bylaws of NAMBLA.
Do they put removable tattoos on the foreskin, Joe?
Look, anything that I pull out of a Cracker Jack box and put on my dick is my business.
No, I mean, once you join the show, it's in your contract. You have to tell us.
No, Church, you're missing it. You hide Skittles in there so she has a snack for later.
No, it's M&M's, you prick.
But seriously here, I was a member of a club, and you're supposed to be respectful of members of at all times.
What club were you in?
It was called the Camarilla. Now it's called the Mind's Eye Society. I think it's changed its name again due to corporate mismanagement. But the thing was that even if you didn't like somebody, if they were a member in good standing, you had to at least pretend they existed, right? Which meant sometimes you would have to associate with people you didn't like. And there was a guy, and since I'm not in that club anymore, fuck your bylaws, named Dave McGrath, who was a giant piece of shit. All right, he was a sucking black hole of awfulness, whose best friend was his drug dealer, Skylar Redman, and they used to ruin everybody's fun. And he would get very drunk, and he would send me pro-Nazi propaganda, talking about the condition and the comportment of what should be done with lesser peoples. Me, a guy with a disability who would have been sent to the camps, right, at like 3 a.m, and I could have got him in trouble for it, but I didn't because my brain said, "This is stupid, but this is not important enough for me to get this guy thrown out of the club just for being a piece of shit human being."
Look, you don't have to dox me just on air like that,
okay? Yeah, but you're not right influencer, so you know. No, I'm just saying, you can disagree with somebody, they can have the scummiest fucking opinion, as long as that opinion is not into action, that's their business. And it's like, would I want to work with an anti-Semite? No.
All it takes for evil to triumph.
It is for good men to do nothing. But the thing is that this presumes that having an opinion is evil. And if we start telling people that they can't have opinions, none of us get to have opinions.
All right, so what's next
I don't hate Jews, but I haven't yet met one that I like.
I mean, you like me, right?
Hey, my...
Oh,
man. Oh, shots fired. I'll be over here.
Does anybody really like you, Larry? I mean, let's be honest.
Hey, look. My mom and
well, here's the thing: when you talk about people and cultures, there is an actual there's something called culture shock when you meet people from a different culture.
True.
And the thing is, sometimes if it takes a long enough time for you to get around meeting somebody, you actually cannot get acclimated to somebody that has a different way of living life.
Hey, Dillard,
so you may just in general,
in
general not get along with certain people or certain groups of people.
Speaking of a different way of living life, I mean, I don't suck cock on a daily basis, but I get along with Dillard.
So. Everybody loves my mom. my mom loves everybody. Okay, but my mom and I have talked about it, and she's straight up honest that she just does not like men from India.
Are you gonna let me? Are you gonna let me transition that tasteful transition into the next show topic? The issue with the new Saints Row is that they're realistic lamoids, and we're supposed to relate to. But Pierce was a wannabe. Shondi was a stoner being taken advantage of by Rasta Barney Stinson. You even had KGB Muscle Experiment. They were fun characters, actual ones. Go.
Yeah. So, Saints Row is doing another game, and instead of being a fun, goofy knockoff version of GTA, they decided to No, we need to be the serious game now because there's all these fun, goofy GTA DLCs that people are making. So we need to be serious now.
Right, but let's talk about that for a minute because this is the fucking cycle. It's hilarious. It's full circle and it's dumb, right? So GTA exists and used to be a fun top-down crime sim. It turned into a third-person adventure game style, and they tried to go serious. They said, we're going to be a real crime drama. And it's boring, right? So they did Saints Row, which was a shitty little knockoff game, and an exclusive, I want to say, for Xbox?
It was for Xbox.
Right. Which is why I've never played it, because they stick to that exclusivity bullshit, even though the game itself is antiquated as shit, and it should be on PC now, right?
How did you end up talking about this?
And it didn't sell well. They said,
he plays the video games.
So they said, you know what? Let's embrace it. Let's be a little sillier. And Saints Row 2 is silly. And Saints Row 3 is sillier. And Saints Row 4 has an alien invasion in which the president, who just cured either cancer or world hunger, is forced to fight aliens who blew up the Earth. But it's okay because he's able to recreate everything with a time machine. Saints Row 4 was fucking genius. Because they realized that to be different from GTA was to embrace the stupid of their setting, right? And when they're like, well, now we're going to be serious, it's like, wait a minute, so you went from GTA to not GTA to going back to being GTA? And you think I'm going to relate to your new characters by wanting to punch them in the face?
And you are a toxic fan, I'll tell you that.
Oh, God,
hey,
yes.
Look, they're taking away the dildo club, Dillard.
I understand. People get outrageous about these things.
I mean, they're taking what makes the game fun, and they're taking it away. So now all it is a bad knockoff of GTA.
Look, okay. There's a character in, I want to say, Saints Row 3, okay, that is a pimp with a voice box because he is unable to speak normally, okay? And you earn his allyship by getting his pimp pad back from a bad guy by running gimps in a gladiatorial Ben-Hur style chariot race. Okay, and if I can't whip gimps while sounding fly as fuck, I'm not represented in your game, and I don't want to play it.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I mean, you always got to keep the pimp hand strong.
Lord, make my pimp hand strong and true, that I may school these fools.
No, that I might show this bitch her place.
So do we have anything more tasteful in the docket, Church?
I don't know.
I don't know.
All right.
He's doing
Ayrton, you have access to the list.
Maybe. Hold on.
Or you could look at the actual Twitter DMs.
Yeah, but he can't change the visual, so we're still staring at Saints Row and the.
That's okay.
What
do we think? What can't I do? To Onslaught Revolution brings the 90s villain back to prey on mutantkind next generation.
For the third
time. Third iteration of Onslaught is going to be a groundbreaking topic.
I guess.
Yes.
Quite frankly, because 1995's Onslaught didn't do enough damage, right?
Well, because that's the thing, is that I didn't actually give a shit about Onslaught, and really, this is just boring as hell to me.
Well, Franklin Richards rendered Onslaught obsolete, so what are you going to do?
Right, until he came back as a fucking meta energy, because somehow Wanda Maximoff is either equal to or more powerful than Franklin Richards.
Technically, she's more powerful than him, but, I mean, what does that matter?
Richards is a fucking Mary Sue.
Absolutely. I don't like Franklin
so
Richards.
So is Wanda Maximoff, but...
They need to write out Franklin Richards from everything from now on.
Yeah, no, he needs to be self-correcting.
Wait, is Wanda more powerful than Franklin?
I think Wanda has ill-defined powers that are as powerful or as shitty as she needs to be.
So does Franklin.
Kind of like, yeah, exactly. So they are as weak or as strong as the given author wants them to be.
Technically, chaos magic can overwrite anything.
I mean, Franklin can make whole universes because he's bored.
So can Wanda,
right?
I mean, I'm waiting for someone to reveal that Franklin is actually just like a child beyond her.
No, that's already happened.
Oh, fuck me.
I mean, that was something I think Warren Ellis did, or if not
He
Warren
would.
Ellis, Hickman, or
He
Hickman
would.
did that.
They would, because those two are fucking hacks. Jesus Christ.
In Hickman's Fantastic Four, that's essentially what Franklin becomes by the end of it.
Yeah, he makes Galactus.
Wade kind of did it too, with Alec Cross.
Yeah.
Can't see it, but I'm doing the face palm because it's the only way to support the pain.
Well, during Earth X, Franklin Richard became Galactus to oppose the Eternals, who were coming to claim Earth for the Eternal Seed.
No, the Celestials. You mean the Celestials?
Same fucking difference, Larry. It's the same goddamn difference.
No, they ruined the Celestials, and they ruined the...
The point is, ancient aliens gonna fuck things up, so Franklin Richards has to pull his Ex Machina out of his crotch.
With the MCU, Eternals and Celestials are goddamn interchangeable.
Well, no, the Eternals now are the robots that work for the Celestials.
Man.
And that simultaneously makes my dick hard and upset.
Can Jack Kirby's zombie rise from the grave and go on a murderous rampage to the offices of the Marvel house?
What the fuck do you think I am, Rune? Do you think I'm just chopped liver over here?
I think you're a lazy-ass necromancer who can't seem to dig up any work.
I'm just Stan Lee's go-to trying to sign my name to all these comic books.
Look, what you need to be is Stan Lee's sister, Sarah Lee, and make me some fucking cakes.
That bitch was only good at making pies, and you know it.
All right, so what is next on our stacked hit list?
Quite literally, no one gives a shit about Onslaught. Moving on.
Things that nobody is gonna read.
Oh, so you mean all of this?
Hey Kotaku, Taiwan has a lot of gamers. Do you want your audience wondering when the CCP is gonna play for the island? Whose side you will be on? What the fuck?
Next.
What? Taiwan #1, China #4.
Basically, Kotaku and all the other major games journalists are saying, you know, guys, China's right. We should really limit kids' access to game time.
No, parents limit children's time to access to game time.
Well,
fuck that.
No, to screen time in general.
More importantly,
as a parent, you should have that decision, not as a government.
Yeah. More importantly, I am neither equipped nor I particularly care enough to get into political debates about the state of whether or not Taiwan is China.
If my kid or my sleep schedule allows my kid at 9 years old to have 12 hours of screen time a week, that's my prerogative. If China's only allows 3, well, fuck China. Taiwan #1, China #4.
No, that's what I'm saying. It is a parent's problem. Okay?
Correct.
And if the People's Republic doesn't like that, well, that's the People's Republic's problem.
Yes, but they're communists and they don't have a choice.
Yeah, this is America, and I don't. And not only do I not care, but I don't want my quote unquote supposed news sources telling me which one is right. Fuck that.
All right. Well, after Kotaku, we've got Disney reactivates Reimagine Tomorrow, its controversial diversity and inclusion program.
Mistakes were made.
Yep. So Disney came up with a thing saying, like, listen, we need to change how we present ourselves in media so that we're not presenting things in a racially offensive way, but also in a way that's racially uplifting and uplifting to gays and all the people in the LGBTQ plus spectrum.
Ligabda.
The Ligabda.
Also, people who are disabled. And we need to also, if we tell things in the past, we need to tell stories about the past, about the way it should be, and tell stories about the present, the way we...
No. Hold on. They need to tell the stories in the way they past they should be.
No, wait a minute, Larry! No, Larry!
In a 16th century French court. Fuck you, Disney. And you're fucking doing things, presenting them in the way they were in history. Fuck off.
And they're saying that we should present things today in the way that we want them to be, and things in the future in the way that they could be.
Oh, so you mean a gay black fairy godmother because calling a gay man a fairy is not offensive?
No, he's not gay, Rune, because he's not gendered. He's a non-gendered fairy. So he can't be gay because gay means same sex attraction.
But wait a minute. I thought,
gotcha.
But I thought everything was coded. Wouldn't his behaviors be queer coded? How dare you take away a queer icon, Ayrton? You oppressive shitlord.
He's British cigarette coded at this point.
I will go with that. He is object coded.
Have you guys seen, speaking of this, have you guys seen that TikTok video going around where it's a gay man and a lesbian woman got together and are now a couple, which is basically just being straight with extra steps?
Yes, and they're being brave and historic in redefining homosexuality.
Right. No, you're not.
But being heterosexual?
Yes.
What a twist.
That is now the hot thing in the gay movement, is to redefine your homosexuality
by being straight.
Well, look. The person, just because they present as a heterosexual male and have a penis, they're still a female, so she's still being gay.
Okay.
Look, I just want to point out that my boy Ayrton and my boy Larry and my boy RuneKnight, they're all homosexual men who are willing to sleep with lesbian women in order to progress the gay agenda, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
Me being a married man, I can't contribute to the Ligabda agenda, but these three brave homosexual men definitely can.
Turns out you're being wingman of the year.
You get extra points if you bang two lesbian women at the same time.
I mean, I almost ended up hooking up with a lesbian woman, but that was a very weird time at the Waffle House. So it was 3 a.m. at the Waffle House, because it's normally that time at the Waffle House when Satan fully manifests himself.
And who goes to a Waffle House before 2 a.m. anyway?
I actually have the same story as Larry, except it's a police precinct.
So I'm at the Waffle House, and I'm there, and at the table next to us is this lesbian couple, and this very, very female, very glamorous-looking lesbian was hitting on me for a good, solid 15 minutes, and her girlfriend, who had a clear 10 to 12 inches on my biceps, was getting angrier and angrier.
And your penis.
And
Larry, you have to understand that young woman wanted her significant other to be beating on her in a public location. Why did you let a lesbian physically assault you in front of her significant other?
Oh, no. She didn't physically assault me because I was completely oblivious to what happened until my friend said, bro, that lesbian was hitting on you.
Well, look, just because you can't feel pain... Puns,
exactly. But yes, that is one of the... And later, that same night at the Waffle House, a young man lost his job for the police academy by being drunk and disorderly to some cops and saying, hey, you can't do this to me, I'm going to the police academy. The South, ladies and gentlemen.
Marvel made an internal list of Asian stereotypes to destroy in Shang-Chi film.
We already talked about that when we talked about Shang-Chi.
Oh my god!
I was gonna say, did they succeed?
But here we go. We got Asian Tekashi 6ix9ine on screen though.
Exactly.
Why did they not consult me on these stereotypes?
Well,
I know you were a proud member of the Asian community, Dillard. That's a lie.
Yeah,
Dillard is every ethnicity.
Exactly.
Except Asian.
Except white. No one wants to be white.
Yeah. Dillard is love. That should
I'm
be
white.
a T-shirt you sell.
I'm white. I'm white enough for Dillard.
Dillard is love. Dillard is life.
Exactly.
Cowboy Bebop creator Shinichiro Watanabe unsure if Netflix will listen to his feedback on a live-action adaptation.
What's the nubby?
Yeah. So
I have no choice but to pray and hope that it will turn out good.
Is this some weeb shit that I know nothing about?
Yeah. So they're
go piss, Ayrton.
So Netflix is making live-action animes, and they're doing a terrible job every time, all the time.
Right. And I mean, I couldn't even jerk off the Death Note, so I mean that was obviously a failure.
Look, dude, you just have to close your eyes and pretend that every time Willem Dafoe talks, he's being the Green Goblin.
Look, if I have to close my eyes, I'm just jerking off the Dillard at that point. So,
I mean, haven't we all been there?
What the hell's wrong with that?
So the creator of Cowboy Bebop gave like a little outline and like a treatment for what the series should be about, and they said, "That's nice. Here's your bag of money." And he had a really bad experience doing a passion project anime on Netflix where basically they brought in somebody else to show run the show that he was supposed to show run.
No, Larry, you're not explaining it right. See, here's the thing: the showrunner said, "Here's how I want things done," and then the producer's like, "Here's the big bag of money. Now, nigga, do's what I does. You niggas couldn't even see who I was." And everybody else was like, "Oh, that was impactful. That was deep."
That makes sense.
And everybody else just went off and said, "Well, I have a big bag of money now, so I'm not going to show up." And the one guy who got the least amount out of the big bag of money was left on set trying to create a cohesive storyline, but didn't know shit about the anime. So he was like, "So what if I had them doing some white people shit? That sells, right? White people shit."
Which anime was this?
Cowboy Bebop.
Well, no. See,
I thought from structure there was another one that I hadn't heard about.
So what they're doing with the live action, they took the Asian character and made her Hispanic. They took one of the white characters and made it black, and they took the Jewish character and made it Korean. And they eliminated the ethnically ambiguous character who was most likely Hispanic. And they talked about changing the dog species, but they decided against that.
Oy vey!
They realized that might be too far.
So that's the
that makes sense to me.
That's the gist of the bullet time on the Cowboy Bebop. I don't want to go back and talk about the actress who's complaining about her outfit and how she was also wearing a slutty outfit on another series when she first started. So really, she's saying, "Listen, I don't have to wear something slutty anymore, so I'm not gonna."
Look, nobody cares about Rose McGowan anymore.
Good for her. She finally got some clout.
Let's watch her burn it.
So what is next on our cavalcade of
CM Punk?
So you want to take point on this one, Mr. Church?
I mean, he had a fantastic match, but they need to stop burying Darby. They really need to stop burying Darby because he's losing credibility as a combatant and as a actual threat in the wrestling community. Sting just had to carry him out of the ring every week, and it's sad.
So, first of all, you might want to give a little bit more information to the people on our show who don't.
Well, here's the thing: CM Punk 7 years ago, CM Punk dropped the pipe bomb on the WWE and then shortly thereafter departed with no contract and no title, as he promised, from the WWE, only to reemerge in AEW 7 years later after a failed UFC attempt to win his first in-ring appearance against Darby in AEW. Darby, who has been a longtime contender and working his way up the ranks for, 3 years now? Larry?
Yeah, about that.
Only to get jobbed out for the last year and a half.
They need a good booker, the AEW. They actually have the.
They need Paul Heyman. They need Paul Heyman to save them.
I wouldn't say they need Paul Heyman booking, but they need somebody other than Tony Khan.
At this point, Darby needs Paul Heyman to come in and save him because he's on Taz levels of being jobbed out.
They don't need Paul Heyman to do the booking.
Look, unless they want
the ring. I'm so sick and tired of the CM Punk and Adam Cole and all these other fucking guys that look like regular ass dudes. I want to see a big fat guy wearing overalls beating people up with a bucket of slop. I want to see some characters.
You need Glenn Jacobs. Dillard wants Glenn Jacobs to get back in the ring as Isaac Yankem in a pair of overalls with a fucking dentist shield on, right?
Yes, I want to see Paul Bearer walking around with a white face on. Walking around with a goddamn 2x4. I want to see Papa Shango in there in black and white face. What the
Everybody you just mentioned are dead.
Look, these aren't fucking superstars. These are just regular ass guys.
They can't make superstars anymore because they immediately go to Hollywood, Dillard. Fuck off.
Look, I got something to contribute for once, I'm surprised to say. Because I don't know shit about this particular problem, but I am extremely enthused to see Dillard get really ragey and have strong opinions for once.
No, wrestling has 100% gone down the shithole, and if anybody still watches it, they're just punishing themselves, and they know it.
100%. See, but CM Punk coming back after 7 years and immediately getting a win on Darby is kind of a smack in the face to a guy who's been developing himself for the last 3 years and has had Sting as his manager for the last year, basically jobbing under Sting. And while I kind of get that because, you know, Steve's a company man. He stuck with WCW. He rolled over to WWE when his contract expired. He fought for TNA. He fought for TNA to keep it alive. And now he's with AEW.
Look, I think everyone fights for TNA. I'd fight for TNA.
No. The company, not the hits
I know.
But after 7 years outside of the ring, for CM Punk to come back and job out Darby, that's a smack in the face to AEW as a product. Like, that's not the win they think it is, and they're going to realize that in a couple of weeks.
You know that Darby and CM Punk are friends, right?
Doesn't matter. Darby's in the ring for the last 3 years working his way up. Right. Punk comes back after 7 years and doesn't matter.
No, I know, but you see, the thing is, the way they're doing the booking in AEW is kind of schizophrenic. What you needed to do is you needed Darby to have a thing on the pay-per-view, and then you have CM Punk come in and smash the guy. Or you had that happen at the Chicago where CM Punk came out, announced he was returning. You know,
you definitely don't. You definitely don't have your young up-and-comer job out for a guy who's been out of the business for 7 years and isn't going to stay in the business for a single year.
Oh, no.
Because Punk's going to be out before 12 months. Period.
No. Punk's got a long-term deal.
He's got a long-term deal, but he's going to get hurt. He's old.
I don't think he's.
What they need to do is they need to hire an unknown midget wrestler, and then Darby and Punk need to fight over who's the actual father of this midget wrestler, claiming it's a boy.
Correct.
And it needs to be a ladder match for the custody of the midget.
With the midget hanging over the ladder.
Okay, so you're saying I need to make this in the script?
Absolutely.
For, El Hombre Lobo.
You stuff the midget into the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Okay, so now we're just writing a comic script, is what you're saying.
The Money in the Bank trunk hanging over the steel cage, in which Kane and Undertaker are fighting underneath the cage, while Mankind and The Rock fought on top of the cage, while Darby and Punk fight under the ring.
Absolutely.
But seriously, Church, I think that might be a fun Gospel of Comics to do one of these days. Is we're going to write a comic script over the entire show.
I have advocated this in the past, actually.
You mean the wrestling show? Like we watch an AEW All Out
like we do like a comic book script. We like all of us get together. We make a comic book script from scratch during a show.
I feel like that's what we do every show.
Usually we don't write it down.
Yeah, we usually don't write it down.
I mean, it's recorded for all time, but
like a script where on this panel this happens kind of deal you do.
China declares war on celebrities who are deemed social tumors that must be removed. So that's me, you, Ayrton.
Well, no. These social tumors are also all effeminate males.
Yeah, me, you, Ayrton, Dillard, everybody but Joe. Everybody but Joe on the channel.
Because I'm a Chad. We all know it.
I thought it was because you were a puppy dog, but sure.
Sir, have you ever been to a park with a puppy? Ladies love puppy dogs.
Yeah, but that would get you canceled. We need you to be an unattractive puppy. We need you to be a puppy that nobody wants to pet. Like you are.
But girls want to pet that puppy.
You know who also loves puppies? Little kids. You're walking.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. He beats the shit out of them every chance he gets.
Little kids and.
Oh wait, we're not talking about Deborah McMichaels anymore, are we?
No, we're not. But the other interesting aspect of this China story is you look at somebody like the actor who portrayed Shang-Chi, he doesn't look like the masculine Chinese man.
Is there a such thing as the question?
Yes. The guy,
every single actor they get, they find that the Asian, they find the Arab, they find whoever that looks the most Anglo.
Yeah.
Look, can we not just get John Cena in all of these movies? Can he just not be the masculine phenotype for these movies? I mean, nobody can see him anyway.
Who?
Exactly.
Give him some of those chiclet teeth and give him a. Give him some black give him some black reading.
Yeah, give him the Suicide Squad treatment and just leave him in the same outfit. In fact, just dub over scenes from him in the Suicide Squad into all of these Asian movies. And I'll bet it'll work better than the Asian actors they have.
Are you saying Asians aren't good at acting?
When are they going to make a remake of Rumble in the fucking Bronx? That's what I want to know.
Electric Boogaloo.
All right, so let's move to the next topic we have.
We've got Sophia Narwhal talking about the dildo bat being removed from Saints Row.
We already talked about that, though.
I know, but, I mean, there are pictures. And if there's one thing I love, is the transsexual posting pictures about a dildo bat being removed from a game.
That's Church's aesthetic right there.
That's how I live my goddamn life.
As a transsexual talking about dildos being removed from a video game?
Absolutely. Designer and director James Hay told Stevie R that there are no in-game phallic weapons like Saints Row 4's dildo bat, which immediately disconnects it from GTA because every version of GTA I've ever played, including the original first game, had a dildo bat.
Who doesn't want to beat a motherfucker with a dildo bat?
With a ram bone. I mean, it comes with the handle for a reason. It's shaped like a sword hilt for a reason. You should assault people with it. It's a giant black cock to beat people with.
Men, Ayrton.
That's incorrect because I've hit multiple people with a ram bone. I bought 3 of them specifically to beat people with.
And how dare you, Dillard? Remember, I am a gay man looking to hook up with lesbians.
Correct, to further the ligament community.
Oh shit! I forgot.
How dare you?
And I think, Church, that just proves my point, not yours.
Look, I don't understand what you're saying.
So what's next on the hit parade?
The roundabout way of just calling you a homo. Just move on.
The last thing that we have, actually, Ladles and Jelly Spoons, is the woke list.
All right, RuneKnight, this is your time to shine.
He gets to go off. I'm going to mute for this because,
Actually, I need to step aside for just a second. I'll be right back.
How dare you?
So if you want to... I'm sorry, I got a piss. Do you want to hold it for me, Ayrton?
I could start the audience up. So
are you gonna bamp for him? Bamp for him.
I'll cover it. So,
oh shit, you're friends with Tipster? I love Tipster, and he lives in my hometown.
So,
don't dox that cocksucker like that. Calm down.
So, there is a list that
I thought you beaters stuck together.
All right, so there's a list, Larry. Tell us about this list.
Yes, there's a list. So there is a list that was posted on the RPG site, which was the site of the RPG Pundit, who is a known alt-right influencer in the role-playing game community. But it is slightly more sinister than that, but I'll let RuneKnight get into the sinister thing. It says the tabletop role-playing game guide to woke companies. And it talks about, the non-woke games. The RPG Pundit's games are listed at the top of the list, as they should be, since it was posted on one of his boards. Yeah. Then Troll Lord Games. Then Studio Agate, Shadows of Estrin. I have no idea what games they've actually made. Then Presses Intermedia, which has made games for the RPG Pundit as well. Then Autark ACKS, Necrotic Games, which does Old School Essentials, which is part of the Old School Renaissance movement. Basic Fantasy also keeps politics separate from politics. Osric, again, another retro gamer. White Box, a retro game company. Goblinoid Games, another retro D&D company. Frog God Games, Sword and Wizardry. Postmortem Studios, which does Tales of Gore, which is a pretty edgy thing, but Postmortem Studios is actually ran by a British left-winger known as Grim Jim, who has been attributed as a alt-right influencer, even though he's not. Palladium, which is the most mainstream of these companies because they make riffs. Then there's Northwind Adventures, another company I've never heard of. Then another known alt-right influencers on there, Venger Satanas and his company. Lamentations of the Flame Princess, which is known for being edgy about sex. For Golden Glory, Immersive. Sinomine, which makes a retro gamer, which is actually good, but they're deemed as indifferent. A bunch of other companies, and then they go...
Bastards.
Then they go into the yellow list, which is sort of woke. That's where the company that does the Star Wars role-playing game is. The company that does Shadowrun is. The company that does Cyberpunk is. You notice how we're already getting into a lot of games that people have, heard of.
Have they covered Wizards of the Coast yet?
Well, we haven't gotten to the definitely woke companies yet.
Oh, okay.
Then we have Goodman Games, which does Dungeon Crawl Classics. Then we have Call of Cthulhu's publisher. Then we have the publisher for Paranoia, who also publishes older editions of Traveler. Pinnacle Entertainment, which does Savage Worlds, which is another popular game system. Hero Games, another popular game system. GURPS, also another popular game system. Free League Publishing, which does some hipster games. Atlas Games, which does Ars Magica, but they're on the edge of going fully woke. Then there's another company that does Star Wars and some other content, a miniatures company, But basically, all these companies have things people have heard of, but they're not the mainstream company. So, the definitively woke companies, we have Wizards of the Coast, a.k.a. Dungeons & Dragons. We have Paizo, Pathfinder. We have Zweihander, a.k.a. a company that made a ripoff of Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer. We have Cubicle 7, which does a whole bunch of different licensed games, including Warhammer. But they also did an Adventures in Middle-earth game. They also did Doctor Who, the role-playing game. Renegade Game Studios, who's doing Vampire Dish 5e, although they used to be higher on the list, now they're lower. Onyx Path, which does New World of Darkness. New White Wolf Publishing, which does Classic World of Darkness. Green Ronin, who does the Song of Fire and Ice RPG and Dragon Age. Evil Hat, which does Fate.
Yeah, Evil Hat, who just fucked themselves, by the way. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, the company that does 13th Age. Basically, this is every game that you've actually heard of and have people who actually play it is on the woke list. So why don't you go into a little bit more detail, Rune, since you're back?
You've more or less covered exactly what it is that they're cutting up who is acceptable and who isn't. Now, the language of the list is supposed to infer that, these are the companies you hate. But it's a woke list being made by a woke commentator, right? To suss out, guys, these are the companies that you're approved to work for. These are the companies that are the enemy. Right?
And posted it on an enemy website.
Yeah, and then made it public. So they did the same kind of Whisper Network bullshit that was happening at Marvel and others, but then they actively let themselves be caught. And that's not even the funny part. Do you want to know what the funny part is? Can you stand the nerdism for a minute? You guys want to know?
Please.
I mean, that's why we're here.
All right. So in Vampire the Masquerade, there's a concept called the Red List, because you can be a bad boy in your home city and get killed, and you can be a bad boy in a couple of cities and be infamous and get killed. But if you are the kind of fuckface that you piss off an entire faction, an entire clan, an entire nation, and you're powerful enough you can't get killed, right? You go on what is basically the most wanted list, the Red List, because you are internationally, globally blood hunted, which means that anyone can kill you at any time for any reason, and if they can get away with it, they get rewarded, right? And it is a mark of some pride to be enough of a shit to get on the Red List. Right?
Nationwide.
And then you look at this list, right? Green is of opposition. Yellow is indeterminate. Who are the good guys on this list? Who are the guys you want to work for? The Red List. They literally describe themselves as the bad guys everyone wants to kill.
I mean, that's fair.
And Evil Hat Publishing made a game called Thirsty Sword Lesbians.
Which... Wait. Will the Red List give me one Jack, one bourbon, and one beer?
No.
No.
What about
it's one
bourbon and a beer?
You're the
bourbon, one scotch, one beer, you uncultured fuck.
You're the wrong ethnicity and you're the wrong sex. You're not allowed to have alcohol.
So, but Evil Hat published a game called Thirsty Sword Lesbians, which is a knockoff of various lesbian anime, but it's a role-playing game. And they said, listen, if you don't like our politics, we don't want you to buy our games. We don't need your money.
I'm running low on skin. I suggest we harvest another lesbian.
Those were the screenshots you posted on Twitter, right?
I mean, that's just the mantra I live by.
No, not that.
The Thirsty Sword Lesbians?
Yeah.
I did make some Twitter comments about that. But the problem is that Evil Hat and a lot of the companies that are in the woke columns that are not your big boys, they make their money off of doing licensed content from mainstream stuff. Evil Hat has the Dresden Files license. They have license for a couple of indie comic books, and that's it. Everything else is a toolbox that you just, plug and play your own material into. Oh, speaking of which, Dillard?
Yeah.
We're going to be doing a comic book themed role-playing game at some point in time once the Chronicles of Darkness hits a good point to put a pin into. Would you be interested in coming on and playing the Butler?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll circle around.
It would be best if it was weekdays.
I'm just gonna ask you one question, Dillard, to see if you're prepared to join this game. You ready?
Okay.
Do you have speed?
No. Are you ready, Dillard?
I'm ready for the question. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Do I look like the kind of man that would do crank?
I would have no idea. I don't know what you look like.
I guess we'll just have to do mine then.
So he's doing a comic book character that his powers change every time he goes to sleep, including his appearance and his personality. So
except for the fact that I'm addicted to speed. That is a thing all the time.
Yeah.
Whenever I get tired and decide I need to go to sleep, I just start doing speed to not go to sleep and become a psychopath. So for like the first 3 episodes, I'm good. For the first 3 episodes, I'm good, but for the next 2, I'm going to be an asshole, and then I'm going to be asleep, and you guys have to carry me around.
I just came off of a campaign. We were doing a variant of the Final Fantasy role-playing game. We ended that last week, so I'm open.
That's like a Pathfinder modded game. It's a pretty good system. I enjoyed it.
Anyway,
it wasn't bad. I did enjoy myself.
Are we done discussing what kind of pieces of shit Wizards of the Coast are, and I'm a horrible person for continue to support them?
I don't know what the fuck any of this shit you guys were talking about. I still don't even know what TTRPG means.
Tabletop
role-playing game.
Church, nobody said you're a piece of shit for continuing to buy their products because you don't endorse their politics.
I definitely don't, but I'm addicted to the cardboard crack.
Yeah, but having an addiction and knowing you have a problem is not the same as endorsing them.
Okay, all right. As long as everybody understands, like, I wouldn't do cocaine if I understood that it, led to human trafficking. But I'm addicted to cocaine, and I don't care that it leads to human trafficking as long as I'm addicted.
See, Church, that's the thing is, I never got into cocaine. I don't like it. I do like the way it smells, though.
It smells delicious, like gasoline and apple pie. One of those things is correct.
I'm sorry. Did we get through talking about that list?
Look, man. Look. You start with cocaine, but the real fun is in crocodile.
No. I've been asking everyone I encountered for the last 4 days if they could bring me 4 fingers of King Hell Crank.
So I really think we should do an episode where we actually write out a comic book.
We do. I like that idea. I really do like that idea.
I have advocated this in the past.
Do you think we should roll dice
what the fuck are we doing right now? Let's do that right
now. No. Do you think we should roll dice for opportunities to pick panels and whatnot? Like, all right, you roll a dice, you get to decide the next couple of panels or how the next page is laid out or whatever.
No. Like, this could be us. We're going to be sitting around a metaphysical table because we're all online, and we're going to say, okay, so we're going to write a comic book
in the virtual studio.
We're gonna do the Marvel bullpen, like it used to be.
Yeah.
Wait, who can draw? Because we have to abuse that person.
Dillard.
Well, I mean, we're not going to draw.
Ayrton can draw.
we're not going to draw it at this stage. It's going to be more of us coming up with a script.
No. The Marvel method requires coming up with a lot of ideas after the artist has sent you his rough draft and saying, "But yeah, that'd be great. But if you could only do it like this," and it's nothing like he drew.
We're enlightened. We're not going to abuse the artist.
Yeah, we will. If there's a cheap drawing app, I'll sit there and sketch out everything we're talking about in real time.
Well, I just like your opinion, man.
But what do you think, Ayrton? You show up for this? Not Ayrton. Dillard. You show up for this and you judge our attempt to come up with an idea. from an artistic perspective.
I mean, Dillard's going to judge us anyway.
Here's the deal.
That's the nature of Dillard.
Yeah, that's part of the course. But what I will do is I will open up an app, a Clip Studio file page, and I will draw the ideas as they come about.
I think this could be highly entertaining content.
Dillard and I have worked together before. I believe Dillard and I could accomplish things.
Look! Put your penis away. Okay.
What else am I going to write? Wait a minute. How else am I going to write, Church?
I mean, with a pen. You perverted fuckface.
Yeah, my penis.
No, not your pen 15.
No. It's the pen is mightier.
The pen isn't mightier than the sword. I will cut the pen off with the sword.
This is what you guys need to have. You guys need to have a 0. You need to have, for this comic book, creating this comic book, you got to have a 0 session. And you got to create the main character of the comic book.
This is true. Also,
that's not hard to do.
Done.
See, what we're gonna do is we're gonna revamp Power Rangers. No, go ahead.
Church, Sean Connery's auntie and Nancy Boy.
No. What we're gonna do is we're gonna reboot the Power Rangers, except in our version, Squat and Babu, aka Joe and Larry, are gonna defect from Rita's army, and they're going to somehow gain control of the green power coin and recruit the Green Ranger, aka Ayrton, who will summon the Dragon Zord that will merge with the Megazord, aka me, in the comic book.
That is a funny way to say, but now it'll be good.
I just like the fact that both Joe and Larry accepted that they would beat Squat and Babu.
No. I'm just saying, I fucking hate Power Rangers, so I already despise this idea.
I mean, I also accepted that I'm a green dude with a dagger that's also a flute for some reason.
And a chest shield. A badass chest shield that nobody else has, even though you're not the leader of the group.
And also, your flute, for some reason, sounds like a synthesizer.
A synthesized trumpet, actually. No, he doesn't wear a helmet because he's not an actual ranger. He's just some dumbass that got the dagger and was able to summon the Dragon Zord to merge with me as an independent character. Instead of 5 teenagers...
Like a terrible idea. It's a good thing that the church is not writing this comic book.
Instead of 5 teenagers hanging out at a juice bar, it's one sentient building merging with a dragon robot. Much more believable.
No, I posit it's one drunk hobo discovering the keys to a Zorg.
A Megazord.
And trying to get to the methadone clinic.
Are you saying that an alcoholic hobo, aka me, finds the keys to a Megazord named Church and basically starts a Twitter account for shitposting and recruits all of you to do my bidding?
Well, it's a Megazord created
That's what you're.
by the Catholic.
No. I think you just wrote the intro to the series.
It's a Megazord created by the Catholic Church to fight the apocalypse.
See, my hobo-ness lured you and Larry as Squat and Babu away from Rita to join the cause of the drunken hobo to make potions to keep me fucked up and offer me enough positive reinforcement to venture out and save the universe until I meet up with the Green Ranger that you two choose behind my back that I eventually merge with because some other alcoholic stands on my shoulder and plays a flute.
Join us next week for our new show, The Drunken
Hobos. Go, drunken hobos! You mighty Sutton drunken hobos! Meow, 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 meow. You did this to you.
But this will be a much more coherent idea when we do the show.
Oh yeah, I won't remember any of this.
Yeah. And we'll say we have to have an Alan Moore reference. We have to have a Secret Wars reference in here.
Although I have already come up with the Church of Failure comic book, and I think I've already explained it to everybody on air. See, what we do is we have 5 religious affiliates from separate religions come together in a disgruntled bid to save the universe from an ancient evil that is an atheist, and then they form the Church Megazord out of a Zord formed from every major religion, including Islam, Buddhism, Old Testament, New Testament, and one other that I'm not thinking of right now. Hinduism? That's a good one.
Larry, the obvious intimation, if we're going to follow Church into his retardation, is that Alan Moore is actually the giant monster that is summoned by Rita Repulsa to
Right,
class.
absolutely. It's a giant fish monster who loses his pants when she says, "Make my monster grow." The fish doesn't grow, but his penis does into a giant monster.
Look. Our buddy RuneKnight wrote for some porn comic companies, so we might want to drift away from that for his benefit.
Well, no, I mean, I have expertise in the area. Obviously, I'll do quite well.
So, Dillard, are you paying attention? Can you draw this?
No, he's trying to get out.
I can draw it, no problem, and I like the idea of a hobo that finds the keys to a mech. I love that idea, but
he should instead of understanding it's the Dragon Zord, he should call it Mecha Godzilla.
No. We're gonna do something a little more serious.
No. He should.
In all the stupid things we've outlined, we're going to be serious. Yeah,
instead
that's called the Saints Row method. That doesn't work.
Instead of understanding it's the Dragon Zord, he literally
needs to be serious. It doesn't need to be serious, but it needs to be taken serious because we're going to make an ash can out of this book, and we're going to actually sell it.
Right.
Yeah, like a hobo. Here's find a Zord or a mech, and he squats and lives in there. But
right.
Like the AI inside the mech says, "Hey, listen, man. You've clearly had some bad times, but I kind of need your help. Why? Well, there's an extra dimensional evil. Well, why should I care? Look, I'll get you more booze if you fight the extra dimensional evil."
Right. But here's the thing.
Yeah, mechs don't go into other dimensions, though. I think we need to stay away from anything that could even be remotely misconstrued as Lovecraftian or...
No. The evil's coming from the other dimension, not the mech.
Here's the thing. Right. I think the obvious intimation is that he was trying to find a bathroom and thought that the head of the Megazord was a cardboard box.
Correct. But here's the thing. Like, I think that it would make sense if whoever discovered the Dragon Zord, which would not be the hobo would discover the Church Zord. Whoever discovered the Dragon Zord, which was controlled by Squat and Babu.
We're already acting like we agreed there was going to be a Church Zord.
No, we did. Because I'm here. And yes.
Church is going to keep insisting until Church gets his way. And we're
correct.
We're going to humor him until we don't have to.
Right.
We'll probably forget all of this, and Church will read another comic book between now and when we do this, and he'll want to do that comic book instead.
No, I'm going to go back to the 5 religious leaders.
Secret Wars of Church.
Which also involves the 5 religious leaders and different Zords, but we'll get to that later. But the thing is the hobo should be the person that discovers the Church Zord. Someone else should discover the Dragon Zord and mistake it for Mecha Godzilla. Because that's serious and that makes sense. Nobody assumes it's the Dragon Zord. They assume it's Mecha fucking Godzilla.
Well, if you do that, then you got a problem with Toei.
Yeah, we got a bunch of fucking wannabe geniuses up in here. Why can't you guys come up with an original fucking idea?
Wannabe geniuses? What are you talking about?
I can come up with several original ideas based on the skeleton of what Church is talking about.
I'm just going to throw it out there.
I'm all for that.
I'm just going to throw this out there. If you're going to have to do this, it's not Mecha Godzilla, you shill. It's the Technosaur.
It's Mecha Godzilla.
No, it's the Technosaur because you don't get sued that way.
Yeah.
I don't care about getting sued. I have nothing to take but debt. Come at me, bro. Ayrton, get us out of here.
I'm not going to be a part of anything that does not have the possibility of making money.
there you go.
Ayrton